every 7 taxi drivers have some form of criminal conviction. That's roughly 6,000 drivers.
There'd be quite a large number of them minor convictions, but there's quite a few of them serious enough convictions. It's certainly not speaking well for the taxi industry.
However, having a criminal conviction doesn't prevent you holding a taxi licence. Take Gerard Hutch, for example. Known as the Monk, his record stretches back many years. Or his nephew Jonathan, who has convictions for handling stolen property, larceny and traffic offences relating to his taxi. In 1998, Stuart Kesey was found guilty of running a major stolen car racket in Dublin. Today, he is one of the biggest players in the taxi industry, owning more than 100 licences. One person you might be wary of getting into a taxi with is this man, Kevin Meehan. He's the father of Brian Meehan, who is jailed for the murder of journalist Veronica Guerin. 10 years ago, there was an assassination attempt on Kevin Meehan's life. In 2003, he applied to have his PSV licence renewed. Gardaí refused, saying there was a real and serious risk to any passenger in his taxi if there was another attempt on his life. Meehan immediately appealed the decision to the courts, arguing his taxi was his livelihood. He won his case and his licence was restored.
If a Garda superintendent goes into court and outlines the reasons why this person shouldn't get a licence, I think proper cognizance should be taken of that. He'd have a real good reason for going against the issue of a licence to an individual.
However, in 2006, the Criminal Assets Bureau seized more than €500,000 from bank accounts belonging to Kevin and Brian Meehan. The money was deemed to be the proceeds of crime. We asked him if he would now consider surrendering his licence.
But you have an order made against you by CAB.
I don't mind that, that's all. Would you believe you're just reading that opinion now? I've nothing to say. I'm not guilty of no criminal convictions. It's gone over for years.
Yeah, but do you accept though that you have an order against you by CAB? CAB didn't seize money?
Yeah.
They didn't seize money off you?
No, check it out.
I have already, yeah.
Then what are you asking for?
Well, the other thing just as well is just in relation to the fact that you're not putting the public at risk by driving a taxi.
Go on and
no, but can you answer that? I mean, surely the public have a right to know, Mr. Meehan.
On a much more serious and disturbing level, a number of individuals convicted of heinous crimes have managed to get their hands on taxi licences, despite being vetted by Gardaí. Sean O'Brien, the man at the centre of the X case, was jailed for raping a 14-year-old girl. On release from prison, he applied for and was granted a taxi licence. He got round the system by not disclosing his previous convictions and using a different address. 18 months after getting his licence, O'Brien sexually assaulted a 15-year-old girl in his taxi. He was sentenced to 3.5 years in prison.
I honestly believe that all taxi drivers should be fingerprinted as part of the licensing process. It's the only conclusive way of establishing the true identity of taxi drivers.
Sean O'Brien eventually had his licence revoked. However, his case is not unique by any means. In 2007, John Ryan from the Clonard estate in Corbally, County Limerick, was accused of raping a 19-year-old passenger. Gardaí immediately revoked his taxi licence. He appealed to the courts, arguing his licence was his livelihood. He won his case. At the time, Ryan had a string of previous convictions.
We're calling on the taxi regulator and the government to look at strengthening the criteria around the standards that are in place for people who apply for taxi licences. Obviously, if somebody does have a criminal record, it needs to be taken into consideration as to whether that excludes him from having a licence.
Last year, Ryan was sentenced to 7 years in jail for raping the teenager. He is currently appealing his conviction. During the course of our investigation, we discovered that, incredible as it might seem, more than a year after being convicted, Ryan's taxi licence has still not been revoked or suspended.
Anybody who can endanger any vulnerable member of the public should not have the privilege of carrying a small public service vehicle licence.
As you have seen from the cases of John Ryan and Kevin Meehan, revoking a taxi licence is fraught with difficulty. Judges are slow to take away a person's livelihood.
In most other professions, if there is an allegation made against a person, that person may be suspended, but they usually are suspended with pay. In the case of somebody that's self-employed, if they're not allowed to work, they're obviously not being paid.
In the main, taxi drivers are honest, ordinary family men, but I think that elements have come into the industry that should not be there.